right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in to NorCal Sports Network. And they pushed me to it, the Giants. We're back to last year where we're putting on the winning cap. This is hard to watch, these Giants. So for tonight, at least, I'm putting the winning hat on.
At least you got a first-place team, Dan.
Yeah, my goodness. Lou, we're going to break it all down here right on NorCal Sports Network. This 3-1 loss to the Tigers. Again, another one-run performance by the Gigantes. Let's first thank our sponsor of the show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Please give Chapman Law Group a call for your legal matters. They can help you out. Chapman Law Group. You got a personal injury situation? Give them a call, 415-613-9483. Let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. Do it today if you have a need. All right. Let's get the band. All right, Lou. This is really, really, really hard to watch. And Johnny Cesari says, worst hitting team ever. This is bad. It's really bad to watch. Started off okay. You thought Wilmer got a hold of one. And then we had to listen to, the announcers complain about it all night long. Like, it's just, oh, the win. You suck. Your team sucks when you're talking about the win the whole game and the umpire behind the plate. My goodness.
Excuse that Central, not the team.
I you know what? I think Hunter Pence a great guy. I like him personally. He doesn't do this for Apple TV when he's on, but somehow he's been assigned to be a homer by the Giants, and it's sickening. I don't think too many, this is what you do for if you're like with the Rockies or something, where you're announcing so bad because you just are hoping people won't figure it out or whatever. I don't know. Good teams don't need homer announcers. Aaron says this morning that the morning on KMBR, Kruko said Buster's actively looking for outside help. Well, he needs it. I'll tell you another thing. I put a tweet out today, Lou. I was amazed when I looked at Patrick Bailey's. You know how many plate appearances he had in double and triple A combined? Take a guess.
We called him up quick because we didn't really have anybody after him.
How long do you think he got? How many at bats he got in double A and triple A combined before getting
46.
the major league? 120.
That's about still 2 years. That's horrible.
120. You know what that's equivalent to? That's a month. That's 30 games. So this guy never got to an opportunity to develop, and then he comes up and he starts hitting decently, and he's playing great at catcher, throwing guys out, and the Giants are in love. And you think, like, this guy really should be in the minor leagues right now.
Still triple A. Yeah.
If you're actually really want to build this team for the future, and if you think Bailey is the catcher of the future, he should be getting development right now at double A for a month and a half and then go up to triple A and spend the rest of the year in triple A and then be ready to go next year. Because he's got to work out his problems where he can work out with pitchers that are not
on the major level.
Yeah, because he's never going to hit at this level. You can't learn to hit these pitchers when you've never faced this good of pitching. So the
Yeah.
Giants have some issues. They
Yeah,
have some real
Dan.
big issues.
KMBR today, I wrote them and then they banned me from the Twitter because you know
No.
that sheet that I sent you where you can even put it up about our Giants offensive stats. You can show
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
how positive it is.
Yeah.
Dan will put the stat up. So I wrote KMBR. I go, stop being homers and face reality. Stop saying that we're a playoff team. How can we be a playoff team with this? And I sent it to them. And then they talked about it on the air. And they said, oh, another guy, he's probably not a real Giants fan. He's just learning about him now. And then I wrote him again. And I said, listen, first of all, tell Papa to get a hat that fucking fits him. Right? Because, Papa wears a hat on the air. And I go, second of all, you guys are a disgrace. This is why no one listens to KMBR, because you guys are full of crap. And then they ban me.
Oh, really?
The Giants right now, guys, we're going to show you this stat. This is how good the offense is. And, they had Pat Burrow on this morning, and I thought it was a disgrace. He says, oh, we're working on Pat Burrow's a problem because we got him. Why? Not because he's a batting coach, because he's local, right? The other thing is until we change this and Buster gets a sack, I don't want to wait 2 months for this team. We're going to be 10 below 500 if we wait 2 months. These guys are average at best pitchers. Once we start going against great pitchers, I almost can predict we're probably going to get no hit this year, which is not really going out on line. But when you get good pitchers, and we will go against good pitchers on the road, it's almost like we're down 2-0 already. And we've said this before. These pitchers for the Giants, Webb is now 5-5. Get it through your head, Robert. He is not an ace. Okay? He's not an ace. He's 5-5 this year. I don't care about not getting things. We have one guy on our team that's an ace. Okay? Webb is not an ace. Okay? And you guys got to remember, it's going to get worse before it gets better. If Buster has a sack, he's got to make a move. Outside help. We need help now. I don't want this for 2 more weeks. And, they didn't have late night Lamont in today. But you know what? What is that going to be? A 1 day? Or is it going to be until they come home? I'm glad, they took a chance and they did something different today at first. And the other thing, and then I'll let you go, Dan. I'm sick and tired of all this bullshit with all these homers saying, Bailey's fine because he's a Golden Glove. I don't give a shit about his defense. I don't care if he's a Golden Glove. Okay, it means nothing to me. Okay, you can always find someone that can help out, but when you're pathetic at the plate, it really, really hurts us. Okay, it hurts us. It's the same thing with Lamont. They today were talking about Adames, and they're saying, "Oh, don't worry, he'll come around." Okay, you know what? Later in the show, we'll put up his averages, guys. If you take out last year's average at Adames, you'll see he's about where we belong. Buster made a move, and he's going to come back to haunt him with Schmidt and Adames. There you go. Look how positive that is, guys. Go ahead, Dan. You can go a little bit on. That's a disgrace.
Go ahead, Lou.
Well, I think it's gotten worse. Look at that.
Yeah,
this, guys. That's absolutely garbage.
Yeah, and this is kind of who
we are.
Who we really are.
Position. It's been the same crap for 3 years, guys.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Runners in scoring position. Look at runners scoring position with 2 outs. 103. And Dan, how many teams are in the National League?
15.
Okay, and then how many in the American League?
15.
Okay, so we're 29th, guys. 29th. You know, probably worse. I mean, we're probably what? Do you think the White Sox or maybe Colorado? That's how bad we are. It's a disgrace, guys. A disgrace. And all you guys, especially like Robert, that said, "Oh, Buster Magic, Buster this." Buster didn't improve the team. How do you improve the team, guys? He signed Adames. That's it. And he saved $30 million. Why are we saving money when we got an offense that can't do anything? This is ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Aaron says he's surprised they put the graphic up on NBC Sports Bay Area tonight. They did. And speaking of Aaron, guys, bake that dough.
Yeah, how's those cookies?
That dough. We've got some churros right here. If you guys, I'm going to open this package up and have me a cookie right now on the show.
There you go.
I need something that is good in my life right now. And you guys can get these cookies.
And
Oh,
Dan,
wow.
don't we get a discount since we know Aaron?
You get a 20% discount on your first order. I know that.
20%.
I got to find the the promo here. Hold on. Wow. Guys, you need to.
And which one is that, Dan, you're trying?
These are churro.
Churros. Wow.
Oh, cinnamon. I love cinnamon. Wow. Guys, I can't find the what did I do with the promo? Hold on. What did I get that in my email the other day?
Yeah, take a look. Everybody, you're saying that. Robert, you say the same thing every show. Did you expect the Giants to have this record? Dan's pointed this out. We started off 8-1. Now we're below 500. After we lose tomorrow, we're only going to be 6 over. Okay? And with this offense, we're not a playoff team. We're not doing anything. You know, it's sad. Yeah, and then, you know, Martin brings up a great point. You know, our boy's coming back, but that's AAA. You know, we got a guy that we're hoping who's never really been a DH in the majors. There's always questions, you know. So, yeah, thank you, Philip. I mean, I think he just cuts and pastes. Are you excited about the record? He's the same guy that told me Webb's an ace. He's also the same thing saying we have the greatest pitching staff in the world. We probably have 3 Cy Youngs, you know. So,
yeah, you know
Dan's
what?
enjoying that cookie. It's just, you know,
Dan,
it's frustrating. The only good thing about tomorrow, it's a day game, so they can't ruin my whole day. Maybe I'll sleep in and not have to worry about them.
You know what? I got this thing. I need. I don't know what I did with the. I'm kind of out of it here. I had to take a pill because of the nerve pain I'm dealing with. I can't find the promo on the cookies. Hold on here.
And you see Rob sent a super chat too, just so you see.
Okay, I will get to that.
He sent us 2 of them. Nice.
There we go. All right. Anyway, guys, bake that dough. Look them up on Instagram. These are the best cookies. They're awesome. They're licensed. These aren't just homemade cookies. You know, these are gone through the health department. They got all the ingredients on the back, all the labels for the, you know, so you know what you're taking for allergy purposes. Yeah, just hit 1,000 followers on Instagram today. All right, guys. Hey, get your cookies. Serious. Go to Instagram and look up Bake That Dough. DOUGH. Bake That Dough. Freshly baked cookies right in Hollister, California. Okay? And you'll get them shipped out to you, and you're going to love them. I'm telling you. These are awesome. Woo, man. All right, let's go to
that
the
helped,
super
hopefully.
Rob says, if I'm Melvin, Sam Huff is starting both Wednesday and Friday. Greg Johnson needs to let Buster Posey make moves. Yeah, yes. Bailey just looks lost. Time for Greg Johnson to care about winning instead of profit. Amen. I agree. Look, guys, the Dodgers won again tonight. So you've lost 2 games, and you've lost 2 games in the stand. You were 1 out. Now you're 3 out. It could quickly get to 10. And then, you know, we know they're not winning the division, but we're looking at a wild card possibility. But, you know, I think they hang in there because the wild card is always weak. There's teams, you know, and so it's kind of foolish, or I should say it's fool's gold, because it leaves you thinking you're really good because you're in the playoff hunt. Now, the Giants have some good things going for them. It's not all bad. All right. You got Robbie Ray. You've got Hayden Birdsong. Webb has been off the last couple games, but he bounced back tonight and was able to go 6. The offense, 3 runs in 6 innings, probably not going to get you too many wins with this Giants offense, but it's called a quality start in baseball because you go 6 innings, 3 runs or less. Problem is the Giants are so anemic, you can't even give up 2 runs. You could go 7 innings, Webb, and be 2 runs, and it's still not enough. Look, they didn't score till the 9th. Did I see anything positive tonight that was worth noting? Well, I saw Adames got a couple of hits. That's good. But they don't. Chapman continues to flounder at the plate. What was, let me pull up Matt Chapman here tonight. Matt Chapman for the night was 0 for 4 down to 214.
Yeah.
Almost 2 for 4. He's almost going to catch. It's like a horse race. 210 to 214. And here comes Patrick Bailey around the stretch, batting number 175. It's just bad. Casey Schmidt was 0 for 3 tonight, but I saw some encouragement because he didn't strike out. He faced a righty. They never let him face righties. He hit one pop-up so high, it was ridiculous, they said, but it was over 100 miles per hour, the ball that he hit. He just got under it. I think Casey, this is a classic sign of someone whose timing is off. You hit that high of a pop-up, 100-plus miles an hour, that means you were right on it, but your timing was just off a split second. You get a guy in there that sees bats every day.
Constantly. Yeah, constantly.
His timing will get better. Look, guys, you can go to batting practice all you want. They're throwing BP at 60 miles an hour. These guys are throwing 90 plus, 95, and there's movement. So I want to see Casey out there tomorrow. If I would be shocked if they put Lamont Wade back out there tomorrow. It would be just like, what? You just did it for one game? What are you trying to do? So we'll see there. Ramos was 1 for 4, and then he hit the ball hard for an out earlier. Lee 0 for 3. They only had 6 hits. Fitzgerald 261. Yaz was 1 for 3, 257. Look, nope. The highest batting average on the team right now is 281, shared by Ramos and Lee. I don't think Ramos hits 281. He probably hits in the 270 range, maybe when the season's all said and done. 265, 270. Lee, I think he's about right where he's going to finish, in the 280s. That's where I put him. Chapman, 214. He's got a 210 on the back of his baseball card. So there's no reason to think that that's not going to happen again. Willie Adames has got a 214 or 217 on the back of his card. So we'll see.
And Dan, what sort of upsets me is even the White Sox made a trade today with Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah.
At least teams are doing something, and the Giants and Buster are just sitting on their thumbs. I don't like it.
Yeah. George getting hot and heavy on Casey. Says, stop with the Casey shit. Okay. He hit one ball hard. Casey didn't hit a ball 100 miles per hour. Well, according to Dave Fleming, he did. So I didn't read that. I wasn't reading the gun. According to Dave Fleming, he said he hit the ball over 100 miles per hour. So take it up with Dave Fleming, because I'm just repeating what I heard. So, and I think Casey is a guy that he plays solid first base, just learned the position. I think he's probably their best fielding first baseman. And I think he will hit 250 plus if you just put him in the lineup. Just put him in the lineup and he will hit over 250. Yeah, there you go. Phil, I believe he said 103. You heard the same thing. Okay, cool. So Philip heard it, but George is upset. But I get it, George. It's not easy right now to watch this team play baseball. Very difficult to watch. Of course he's hitting 212. How many at-bats does he have? And how often does he get to play? I mean, one hit or two hits and his average goes up to two. You know what? I'll just tell you what his average is right now. Schmidt is 7 for 33 on the season.
33 at bats only. Wow.
33 at bats.
Injured, but wow.
Yeah. So if he gets two hits tomorrow and goes 2 for 4, he would raise his average to 243. That's how he's in that range right now, where batting average is kind of a joke because it just fluctuates.
And Dan, it looks like we had a member of the chat that actually went to the game today in Detroit.
Oh, really?
Matt? Yeah.
Oh, Matt. Okay. Went to the game today as I'm in Detroit, big Giants fan. It was a waste of money to go watch this team. It's absolutely pathetic the way the offense is. Yeah, thanks for your comment, Matt. Yeah, it must have been tough to watch. Dang, it's really hard baseball. I mean, they don't – what was their only threat in the ninth inning when they actually got two hits in one inning?
Yeah, we had a whopping 4 hits going in the ninth again. I mean, it's sort of mediocre, you know. I mean, you can't win when you don't produce. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things. Yeah, the ninth inning was the only rally. And I know Jack Flaherty, you guys know the name, but he's had a horrible year. You know, I think he was 2-5 with an ERA of 6, you know, a righty. So we can't just keep using the left-hand excuse. Flaherty's a righty. And it's just come to the point now where any solid pitcher that has 2 or 3 pitches, we just can't hit. You know, it's tough, you know, so. You know,
yeah.
Then Dan, the other thing too is we talked about Bailey. He's been having trouble at plate. You know, another catcher's interference. You know, so another error. It's just, you know, it's weird. You brought up the point last night on these plays where it's one bounce to the plate and you can't scoop it. You know, here's another example. You know, I mean, come on. It's just. Yeah, Robert, we know there's plenty of baseball to be played, but, you know, we want to see this team offense is just like last year. This team's offense might be worse than last year, and just give it a little time.
Yeah.
You know, we can't hit in the clutch. We can't hit.
No, you got a big problem here. You got guys that really look. Willie Adames had a great year last year. He was also something motivates you. At least it sure does me when I see big money in front of me in sales deals. Like, whoa, Willie Adames realized last year he had an opportunity to make 150 million plus. And you notice that he jumped on the offer of 182 that he got from the Giants
very quick. Remember,
very
it was
quick.
like before the trade, before the
winter meetings.
The winter meetings.
It was he got an offer so quick that he jumped on it. Do you notice that the Giants and Scott Boras, Matt Chapman, Boras jumped. He never signs guys, always sends them to free agency, never signs them in season. Yep. The Giants were bidding against them, obviously against themselves, but Boras was saying, oh, we're going to go free agent. And they come up with 6 years, 151 and they couldn't wait to sign it. They jumped. Let's have a press conference. He sits out a game. They make a big deal of it. Matt Chapman's like a giant. Okay, so you got Chapman. Jung-Hoo Lee gets $19 million when he was projected to get like $10 million.
Yeah,
he jumped at that. The Giants have had to get their 3 what you would consider
their
biggest
best
signings.
Yeah, biggest signings.
Besides Ramos, that's their best guys. Adames, Chapman, and Lee. And they all got signed to contracts that nobody else in baseball would have given these guys. Nobody.
Great point. Great point, Dan. Solid.
And so this is what the Giants are up against. They cannot sign superstars. No superstar in their right mind that's a hitter's coming to join the Giants. But mid guys will jump at it. You know why? Because they know they're not going to the Hall of Fame. And so they know that their numbers are not going to be based on, they're going to take the money. And they're happy to, hey, I got the money I was looking for. Okay. Adames, I thought he was a Scott Boras. Wasn't he a Scott Boras guy?
I'm not sure of that. I just know, that we tried to sign him before it. So
let me check.
Yeah.
Willie Adames agent.
And guys, Dan said Adames would struggle because, last year he got very lucky. I think Dan said he came up 25 times with the bases loaded. And I think he had 3 grand slams, a couple doubles, and his stats are, and he plays in a hitter's ballpark in Milwaukee where the ball flies out. So, if you look at the stats for Adames for his career, it's like Chapman. It doesn't lie. So,
okay.
And this is all Buster's fault, I think, to sign.
George is correct. Scott Boras is not a Adames agent. I thought he was for some reason, but point is, when the Giants offer big money, these guys jump at because they know they're not going to get that big money somewhere else. I don't think anybody was giving Adames 7 years.
No, nobody was giving Chapman.
No way. Yeah, nobody was giving Chapman more than 4.
No,
and they gave him 6. Yeah. What did I predict for Adames this year? I predicted he'd have about 80 to 85 RBIs is what I believe I predicted him in the beginning of the season. I said he'd probably hit about 23 home runs, and I said he would hit around 240. That was my numbers for Adames. I don't think he's going to make it at this point, but I don't know.
And Dan, the one thing about Adames that nobody's talking about, we signed him for his offense. He's very average at best at shortstop. Okay. And you only sign him because you have Chapman next to him, who's a great shortstop. I mean, a great third baseman defensively.
Right.
If you look at Adames, half the time he's not even in the right position. He doesn't have a great arm. So we signed him for offense. Just like, we signed Chapman not for offense, for defense. So when, you sign somebody for that much and you sign him for a reason, he's not coming through. And then here's the other part, Dan. Not only do we have him this year, we have 6 more years after this.
Yeah. The back end of these 2 contracts with Chapman and Adames, years 4 through 6 with Chapman are going to be ugly. And I think 4 through 7, I mean, it's looking ugly right now with Adames, but he can turn things around. He's an adequate shortstop. He's not horrible. He's not great, but you expect him to be a producer, but you also got to remember he had some more hitters in that lineup in Milwaukee than he did with he does with the Giants.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And Dan, you bring that up a lot. You know, Adames had a guy who was a former MVP that bats ahead of him, that gets on base, and then he had coverage behind him. You know, with the Giants, I mean, they keep moving him because there is no protection for him.
Right.
You know, and I think you remember a great point. The Giants right now have 4 guys that literally are outs. It's like having 4 pitchers out of our 9. So we have 5 guys. So, you know, if 3 of them don't come through, that means 2 out of the 9. You can't win that way.
Right. I just pulled up a random box score from last year for the heck of it. Milwaukee, just to look at the Brewers lineup and what the difference is between that and the Giants. This is June 14th. They scored 5 runs. Look at the lineup. They have Bryce Terang, William Contreras, who's the best hitting catcher in baseball, Christian Yelich, who was hitting 329 last year. Contreras was hitting 307. Adames was 246. Rhys Hoskins. Then you had Sal Frelick behind him, and then Ortiz and Jackson Chourio, who made a really good, strong second half push. But Adames was hitting 246. If I just go to another, let me go to another. How about if we just go? Oops. Let's go back here to, how about August 16th? It's a Friday night game. Can you guys see these box scores, Lou?
Yes.
All right, 5-3. Adames homers. Look at this. I just picked out again. Homers. Here we go. Here's the box score. Terang. Churios. Now, remember he was hitting 229 in June, I showed you? He's up to 274 because he started really coming on. Contreras hitting 284. Adames, 252. Goes 1 for 3 RBIs. Okay. RBI numbers for Adames. 3 RBIs. He's got 84 on the year, August 16th. See that? So this is what, you know, they're dealing with. If I just pick another game, let's pick
And that's in Milwaukee where the ball flies out, and it was a 3-run homer in the first.
Yeah. Let's pick a game in September. September 8th on a Sunday. Let's see how where are the Mariners? Come on, everybody plays on Sunday. Brewers, I mean. Oh, 4-1. All right. They lost to the Rockies. Not much action there. So let's go to Tuesday the 10th. Let's see if we get a game there. Brewers. Why do I always go right? Why am I going over the Brewers? What do you mean they didn't play on
I didn't see him on that one.
How could they not play on a Tuesday? They didn't play Monday.
Maybe they had. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there they are.
It is.
They beat
Against
the Giants. All right. At San Francisco. How did Willie do there? Willie, 2 for 4. Hitting 253. Who's he get his 2 hits off of? Roop. All right. So, I mean, look, it was a contract year. The guy was hitting. He was 112 RBIs. He had 13, I believe, 3-run homers, 13 or 14 3-run homers last year. He had a grand slam. I think out of his 32 homers, only like 8 of them were solo. So it was just one of those years.
Yeah,
and
great point.
You have to look at that and say, no one's going to repeat that. That's why I didn't expect him to get it. You know, I said, I was on the record, said he's probably going to get about 85 RBIs. But we don't even, like Dallas says, he'd take 1 3-run homer this year. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly, Los. If you see a contract year, just run. And I made the mistake of picking up Juan Soto this year in one of the fantasy leagues because he fell to me, and I was like, shoot, he's the best player available on the board, but he got his money, and he's probably not going to do that great. And of course, he's off to a horrible start. So some guys get their money. Robert says, who says he can't turn it around? He can. I don't think you're going to see anywhere near the production that you saw last year in his 7-year tenure here in San Francisco. I will say this. I don't think Adames reaches 100 RBIs in his career as a San Francisco Giant. That is my take. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets 90 one year, but I don't think he's going to hit 100 RBIs. I think he's pressing now. Aaron wants to know, is this a contract year for you, Lou?
Me and Dan and our agents, we don't talk until after the season. We just do the show. That's our job. We get paid for it. And then at the end of the season, we sit down and we talk. There's a lot of conditions, Dan's condition, Bo's condition. We need to make sure it's healthy. We need to make sure that actually podcast still exists. And because there's rumors out there that chat wants AIs instead of me and Dan. So that's why we got to wait until the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. This one here, the Adames talk about the best side of the left. Yeah. Adames does have some good things to him in that he's a good, team type leader. I think he's pressing and he's, trying to prove his worth. But, this is just a difficult time for this team. And, they're just not a group of hitters, Lou. They're not guys that make loud outs. There's a show on the MLB network called Loud Outs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Giants don't make loud outs. They make soft outs.
Yeah, very soft. And I tried to pull and it grounds out to the second. It's a week. And I think the thing is, nobody's talking about the Giants, how good their offense is. We're talking about how bad it is and how bad the announcers are and how much homers are. That's a problem. If you guys watched yesterday's game and today, the Tigers believe that they are the best team in the American League. They believe they can compete with the Yankees. Stadium's rocking. It's loud. They have an ace like Screwball. You could feel it when you watch how good this team is and how it's going to be at the end. With the Giants right now, when we started off the season, we said there was probably 10 question marks. Okay. We probably have answered 4, maybe 5 of them. We still have 5 question marks out there. When you look at today, guys, the best part about today's game, Tristan Beck, again, another great time in the bullpen. So now we have another solid arm in the bullpen. But you know what? Who cares if we have 12 pitchers in the bullpen to pitch when we can only use maybe 2 or 3 a game? That's why we have to make a move soon, because if we have a surplus, it doesn't do the offense any good. It keeps us in games. But right now, guys, this might be, torture 2.0. I mean, because the pitchers need to pitch a shutout or the Giants are going to lose. And this is on the road. Remember, we don't hit that well at home, Dan. That's the part that's worse.
Yes.
They just don't hit at Oracle.
I was so wiped out earlier tonight. I forgot that NBA playoff game was on. Was that a good game? I see the Pacers beat the Knicks.
Pacers, they were up about 15. They got it down to 6, and then they wind up pulling away late. So it's 3-1 in both.
Yes, love it. Looks like it's going to be an Indiana OKC final.
Oh, God, probably will break the records. of viewership for the NBA. Just what they need.
Yeah, Indiana.
It's almost like
OKC.
it's
Two
almost like
big-
Thursday night. The Knicks and NBA and the officials are going to do whatever it takes to at least force a game, because this will be the final game ever on TBS and TNT. Once they're done, there's no more TNT, no more Barkley, no more Shaq, nothing.
Oh, the finals on ABC or something, or
yeah, ESPN,
okay.
ABC.
ESPN, ABC. Okay, jeez. Well, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I agree with NorCal Sports Talk Live here. We're not asking for much. Just move off of Wade and get a catcher who can actually hit. Look, I'm dead serious when I bring up Patrick Bailey. Look, we love his framing. Okay, we love his pop time and his ability to throw guys. But are you not selling his career and the team short when you might be better off a year down the line as a team? The Giants are trying to build something. Look, the fact that they're in the playoff hunt right now is ahead of pace. Let's just face it. They put a stat up on NBC Sports Bay Area tonight, and the question was, which 30-win team is the biggest surprise? It was the Giants, Tigers, Cubs, and Cardinals were the 4 teams on there. 63% said the Giants. 21%, I think, said the Tigers. 11% was the Cardinals, and 5% was the Cubs. So the fact is, nobody thought the Giants would be a 30-win team this year at this point in the season. So they are ahead of schedule in some ways. I think Patrick Bailey, to me, if I was looking at everything from a bird's eye view of things and I was in charge of the situation, I would say, you know what, we're going to send Patrick down to the minors to get reacclimated with his bat. In fact, we're not even going to put him in AAA right now because he didn't get very much time in AA. And we're going to work on letting him work on his hitting approach. He doesn't need a lot of help with the catching. He does miss a lot of balls. I've never seen a catcher drop balls that are just right in the glove so much because he's trying so hard to frame it. He drops balls that end up that are strikes that get called balls because he dropped it. So that's what I would do. I would seriously put Bailey, and I'd find me a catcher that can actually hit, and I'd let him, the catcher and Huff, go at it, and let Bailey develop so that by next year, look, this guy's, you know what the statistic is for WR, what do they call it? Hold on.
Wins.
Or like OPS plus, basically. It's basically OPS plus. Since last summer, now keep in mind, 100 is the average. Okay? That means you're an average player at 100. This year, he's at 41. But since last summer, when he went like 2 for 50, he's at 30. He's 70 points below average.
Is that the worst in MLB? That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what Sam Huff. Let's see what Sam Huff is. Sam Huff is 72 this year and has a 105 for a career. So why is Bailey getting all the catching duties when Huff's proven to be more of a consistent hitter offensively?
Because he won the Golden Glove last year, Dan. You got to know. He won the Golden Glove last year. He's the same player, so don't worry about it. That's the Giants mentality. You listen to KMBR, the commercial leader. That's all they say. Oh, well, we'll take his defense. We'll take his defense. Same thing with, Chapman. Oh, we'll take his defense. Guys, Dan keeps bringing up, we have so many holes in our offense now. Every pitcher looks like Cy Young against our offense. Every pitcher.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
If you guys, I was shocked when I looked at this. Can you see the Bailey numbers here up on the board? Are they there on the screen, Lou? I'm not looking at the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it was.
All right.
Now there's commercial. You're down too far.
All right. Well, what I'm going to is let me get to his minor league stats. And I'm going to show you something that blew me away. 23 season. Remember, in 22, he was at A+ ball up in Eugene.
Okay.
He had 325 plate appearances.
Yep.
In 22. Okay. That's A ball. San Jose is low A. Okay. He was there in 21. He was in the Arizona Fall League. But in 20, I'm going to highlight the 23 season. See that right there?
Yeah, AA and AAA.
120 plate appearances, 105 official at-bats.
Yep.
Okay. 105 at-bats. Or let me go back to 23. Okay, there you are. And then he came up and they brought him up in 23 and he had 353 at bats as a Giant. And then last year 448. Okay. So he did not get much tuning, and this is why. Does he not look to you when he's up at the plate that he looks completely lost? Like he's almost like resigned to the fact that I'm not getting a hit.
Yeah, it's sort of like, because you got to remember, he was a switch hitter when he came up, and people thought that was wrong, but he has no confidence up there. I have not seen confidence since that one game when he got the pinch hit in the 9th inning, where he just put the bat on the ball. You remember that, right, Dan? I think it might have been against Angels, but everything else. And I think him and somebody else, they say that he's lost 2 miles an hour on the swing. He's another guy that they said he's lost 2 miles an hour. I think more like 4, because these guys are not making solid contact with the ball on the bat. I mean, it's very quiet, or it's the usual two plays where they just miss fouls and then sort of a weak ass pop up between outfield and second base.
Yeah.
And that's if he pulls it.
I am really getting to the point where I am I had 86 wins projected. I don't think they make that. The way this team's playing right now and the way this team's currently constructed, they will be lucky to finish above 500. The way that's constructed. Now they can turn it around. Like Lo said, they need to go get some speed and power. They need to go find some guys. And here's my prediction what they're going to do with Bryce Eldridge, guys. I think Bryce Eldridge gets called up to AAA in June. I said that a couple months ago. I said he's going to be at AA, and then in June, he goes up sometime in June. I don't know if it's early June, mid-June. I just know Bryce Eldridge, I think, is coming up in June. And I believe if he's ready to go, and if he does well at AAA, he'll be up with San Francisco in mid-August. And I think that's what they're going to try and do, is get him 50 games at AAA. If you can get him 50 games and 200 plate appearances. You know what I'm saying? I could see if the Giants are in the race for a spot, I could see them saying, okay, we're going to make Bryce the guy in mid-August and keep his rookie status where he just becomes a DH or something. We'll see. I don't think he comes up any earlier than August if he comes up. As a catcher, what would be causing Bailey struggling so much at the plate? I just think the league's adjusted to his weaknesses. And he doesn't have an answer for it because he's not used to seeing all the quality pitching. Look, these guys they're not just like, how do I say this? When I played, whether it was high school or Babe Ruth, it's not like we just go out and go, oh, I'm pitching today and we don't, I'm just going to throw whatever I can throw to this guy. And, oh, I faced him before. He can't hit the ball up high in this guy. But generally speaking, at lower levels, you're just going out and pitching. You're throwing, right? You're not even really pitching. These guys have so many people that are doing advanced scouting and they're watching, you see they're watching their laptops in the dugout and they're studying. 2 days, 3 days before these guys go to pitch, they know everything about the guys they're going to face. Patrick Bailey cannot
all the tendencies, yeah.
Yeah, all their tendencies. They know all of them. And that's the difference of being professional at the major league level and being at A ball. They're not doing that to that extent. This is for big time bucks. When there's big time bucks involved, and guys' jobs are on the line and scouts and all that, these guys are, that's why you see these guys in there. They're sitting there reading and they're looking at the laptop or whatever, or their iPad thing. And this is why, pitchers have been able to get Chapman out for the most part. Do you know that when Matt Chapman generally gets a hit or a home run, it's a mistake? These guys aren't robots. They're not perfect. They can't put the ball exactly where they want to put it 100% of the time. But this is why Chapman's batting average is so low, is because they know his swing path. And they know Willy Adames chases the ball low and away. And all you got to do is get ahead of 2 strikes on Adames, and you can blow him away with a high fastball or throw a slider that breaks off the plate, and he will chase it low. He'll just chase because he thinks it's going to be a strike, and he's aggressive. He's kind of like Javi Baez. He goes after pitches. So the guys, when Chapman gets a big time hit, it's generally a mistake in his wheelhouse. And it happens, a few times a week where he gets a good hit.
His last homer was a slider that literally didn't do anything, and he just stood there. And even the announcer said, "Oh, that slider didn't go anywhere. It's in his wheel zone," and he nailed it. But the other thing too is he usually gets this when the game's not on the line. When you get these pitchers, bullpen pitchers that are in for 1 inning only, and it's 3-2 and Chapman's up with 2 runners on, he's blowing away. I mean, there's more time where he strikes out, he can't even foul the ball off. Dan, when he strikes out, he misses it by like 2 feet, it seems like.
Yeah. Yep. Chapman doesn't have a 2-strike approach. No, he has the same swing path.
Yeah.
He has the exact same swing path with 2 strikes. Lowe says, don't turn on Chapman now. Most in here adored him when extended. Not NorCal Sports Network. Lowe knows that. I was personally never for the Chapman signing the first time he became a Giant. It's the one guy I did not want. Why? Not because I didn't think Chapman's not a good player. I think he's a good role player. Giants have so many holes. You sign Matt Chapman to be your leading, he's your lead singer. He's your lead singer, and you don't even have any guys that can play, in the band anywhere else.
Instruments, yeah.
There's no instrument players, and you got this lead singer. That's the problem.
Useless.
Yeah. The Giants, Matt Chapman, you stick Matt Chapman on a team like the Dodgers, place him in front of
seventh or eighth.
Yeah, and instead of Max Muncy, and the Dodgers are even
better.
They're 4 or 5 games better. Yeah. Yeah. He's a Toyota Camry for $1 million. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I think Matt Chapman's probably a great guy, and I would probably enjoy being around him. He's a dog lover like I am. I know he's got a golden retriever, which I've had 3 of them. He's a family man. He's a really solid teammate. Matt Chapman is not the problem with the Giants. The problem with the Giants is the leadership, and they're putting together a team. You have to put together a team that fits your ballpark. They've got most of it right now. They've got the pitching and defense. But you didn't have to pay Matt Chapman $26 million or $25 million. Look
Again,
at Giovanni.
right place, right time. Right place, right time.
Did Dan just say Chapman is the problem? I just said Chapman is not the problem. You clown. I just said Matt Chapman is not the problem. It's the organization that's putting together the team.
So, Dan, when you do that, is it the new GM, or is it Buster's fault? Buster didn't really improve the offense. I mean, look who he signed. When you really think about it, Verlander, okay, he's probably about it on a scale of, he's probably like a B. Okay, Adames has been a D. Chapman has been maybe like a C minus. Yaz probably is the best signing he's done for a 1-year deal. He's probably like a B plus. Everybody else is very average at best. Lamont, 1-year deal. Lamont has been an F. I mean, it's been pretty brutal the offseason. And we saved $29 million.
Right.
So
the guy that I wanted the Giants to sign this offseason was Pete Alonso. That was the
he's
glaring.
not doing good this year. He's not doing good.
No. That was the glaring hole. We did videos on it. Sign Pete Alonso. It's a glaring hole that the team had. They could have, but Buster didn't want to somehow give him with opt-outs. Why? Who cares? Get him here. So, look, they could have given Pete a really good contract that nobody was offering.
And what did the Mets do? A 1-year deal with a player option, but it's got to go up $5 million. But I think they only signed him for something like, he only signed for like 23 million for 1 year.
Something weird.
Yeah.
Los, this is another issue. Bregman would have been a great fit for this team. We talked about signing Bregman. Now, I didn't think they would get rid of Chapman, so I was thinking Bregman at second base. And Alonso, you signed those 2 guys, you just solved your hitting problems for the whole lineup. It gets longer now.
And better,
now you've got 2 real baseball hitters, but they didn't do it. They left $30 million under the tax line. They signed Verlander, which they didn't need. That's 15. That's $45 million they had to play with. They didn't have to sign guys like Yaz, which is $10 million, and Wade, whatever they're giving him, $5 million. There's another $15 million. So, I mean, you're 30 plus the 15, 45, and another 15. There's $60 million right there. You could have signed both Bregman and Alonso. The Giants don't have legitimate hitters. And what I'm worried about, Lou, going forward is I don't know when it's going to change. I think this is going to have to be a philosophy change within the organization. And it's going to have to be a situation where they
rock bottom.
No, I just think they need to. It's going to take. They're going to have to draft and develop their players well, and you're going to have to come up with the Brandon Belts, the Crawfords, the Panics, the Sandovals, the Posies.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come up with guys like
through the
that.
Farm system, because Eldridge is not going to make a difference. You need like 3 Eldridges.
Yeah, you need 3 or 4.
System.
You need 2 to 3 guys coming up every year that for about a 4-year period that really starts to change. And then you just have to keep doing it. You're not going to get any superstar to come to Oracle Park hitter. They're just not. A superstar is not coming to Oracle Park. And if he's got Hall of Fame on his mind, he's not coming because he's not going to blow his numbers. So
Dan, how do you do that? How do you do this? Are the Giants, if the Giants say keep going down and say July 17th, the season is taking a turn for its worse, and say there's 6 games below 500, 10 games out of the wild card. I'm just throwing a number out there. Do you then trade Ray, trying to get people maybe for the future? Or
say this one. Say this again. I was reading the chat. So if they're 10 games out at the trade deadline,
no, 10 at the trade deadline. Do you trade guys like Ray? Where because too many times the last couple of years the Giants had a chance to make trades, and we said this. One of Farhan's biggest problems, he never made the trade. We would lose a player where we could have got maybe 2 or 3, AAA guys where maybe 1 hits. That's what you're looking for, and they're cheap.
Absolutely, 100%. I trade Robbie Ray. He might be the biggest pot of gold this trade deadline. Let me tell you why. He's going to be up in the running for Cy Young, and he's still got another year under his belt, which that means teams will give up their top prospect for. Okay, you're not going to get, if Robbie Ray has no 1 more year left, they're not going to give up their very best prospect. But for a year and a half of control and a possible World Series run this year, that would be their best trade chip, would be Robbie Ray. Wilmer Flores is not going to bring you a ton. I don't think Wilmer Flores brings you a number 1 prospect from a team, but he might bring you a 3rd or 4th top prospect in someone's pipeline. Yaz, he's not going to bring a whole lot. That's really all they have to trade from the roster.
All right, Dan, I got to do this. If we need to rebuild and we need help, and you're say you're 12 games out, maybe lost 5 or 6 straight games, do you trade the 2 big ones with your youth being so stacked in starting pitching?
You're talking about Webb and Ray?
And Ray.
If you want to be good
for the future, set for the next 5 to 7 years.
Look, you have Birdsong, Roop,
Yep.
Harrison, and Wisenhunt, a big four right there. Okay.
And
And
all
you've got
make no money. No money.
right. And you've got some other guys that are coming up in the system.
Of the pitching, sure.
And you can always go get a 5th and 6th starter free agency. You know the Giants can do that. Absolutely, I am trading both. If the Giants are not in it and I get the opportunity to get 2-3 studs that are young, controllable hitters that are actually in the minor leagues known for their hitting ability, absolutely, I would do that. I don't think the Giants will. I think they might do it with Ray. I think they're too the Giants are too in love with
The
guys like their own, guys like Chapman and Webb. They would do it with a Ramos for whatever reason, but guys that seem to love the organization, they're not going to trade him. I mean, the Giants are more they're kind of like putting pig on a lipstick on a pig to me. They like to try to look good, like, oh, we've got, Logan Webb's from the Bay Area, and Chapman is
I hate
Logan Webb's from
Former
Sacramento, and this and that, and Matt Chapman, he grew up in the A's, and he's just loves being here in San Francisco. They'd rather have that feel good on the outside than actually build a winning team. It fascinates me how they do this. They do not look at this as like a business.
Dan, if they don't make the playoffs, or say they're below 500 again, and you take 21 out, that's 9 years. If you take the 1 year out of 2021 where we got lucky, I mean that's ridiculous.
And I'll tell you, the last and the 49ers do it now too. They do it with Kyle Juszczyk. Oh, we love Kyle. We love our guys, but they don't do it, with certain guys they'll get rid of. But the Niners, when Bill Walsh was running the team, they got rid of Ronnie Lott. They got rid of Jerry Rice. They traded Joe Montana. They got rid of Roger Craig. I mean, you want to talk about
winning. Yeah.
It was about winning. It was not about.
They even fired their coach.
Yeah, Seifert. Yeah.
Seifert.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Hold on one sec. Go ahead, Lou.
No, and it's just, it's kind of the point now where, I'm just, maybe I drank the Buster Kool-Aid, too much of the Buster Kool-Aid, and I thought, hey, these Giants are going to be different. But we're in the same boat with our offense. It's just the same, and it's sort of frustrating because now, we have a stockpile of pitching, but nobody gives a shit if we have 13 great arms if we can't hit, and you bring up a great point. They took care of the pitching. Our defense, I'm not even sure if it's as good as last year. I'd seen Chapman make a lot of mental errors. Adames is not good. I've seen Ramos, he has a problem putting the glove or down, so we have a major problem when you're only, baseball is a game of offense, defense, making the small plays. And right now we're only doing 60%. And if you notice, that's why since we started off 8-1, we're below 500. You saw the
Yeah.
stats. We can't hit. It's just one of those
23
things.
and 23 now that they started 8-1,
8-1.
Lou.
Yeah.
Once they're 8-1, now the team is 23 and 23. In fact, I will put that right up there right now. There you go. 8-1 since 23 and 23, 500 club. And tomorrow, Detroit's hungry. Detroit's plays well at home. Would you rather have the Giants offense or Arizona bullpen? I'd rather have the Arizona bullpen. I mean, the Arizona offense and the Giants bullpen. How's that? Wouldn't that be nice? See, I just think that
But
the
Dan,
Giants.
here's the difference. Don't you think Arizona's going to do something to get the bullpen better?
Yeah,
They got a lot of young youth. They'll make a move and improve. The problem is, will the Giants do it? You know, I mean, it's one of those things.
So I'm thinking that this team is what's their record now? 31 and 24. Yeah, 31 and 24. So they're 7 over. They can get well still. If you can go in and win 3 of the next 4 on this road trip, it's a successful road trip as far as I'm concerned. I heard Marty Lurie say he thought they would do he wanted to see an 8-4 trip. I thought that was a little, not an 8-4 trip, but 8-4. He was including the last 3 at home, I think, stretch, 8-4 stretch. I think if you could get on this 9-game trip, they're now what? 2 and 3. Okay. If you can win 5, if you can go 5-4 on a 9-game trip, that's really good. That's really good. And that's what they need to focus in on. They need to focus in and winning tomorrow and taking 2 of 3 from Miami. You come home, successful trip, and then you try and figure out how to get better, because you're looking at a rough stretch of games ahead of you. When you come home, you got San Diego, you got Atlanta. I think this team plays a little better at home, obviously, but they need to be able to get some bats, Lou. And this hasn't been a problem just this year. This is, like you mentioned earlier, this has been going on for 3+ years. Since the 22 season. Since the 22 season, their bats in the second half of 22, they went into a slump. And I remember Kapler saying, "Oh, we'll come out of it. They'll come out." They never did. And they didn't come out of it in 23 or 24 either. And here they are. We saw the graphic earlier that we could put that back up there one more time for everybody, that this team since May 9th is at the bottom of baseball in almost every category.
And Dan, just this road trip, we've scored 4 runs, guys, in 5 games. 4 runs.
Look at that.
Sad. Yep.
Runs, 26th. Probably now 28th, because this didn't include the last couple games. Average, 206. Extra base hits, 22. Dead last. Tied for last. On base percentage, 28th. This is out of 30 teams, guys. Slugging, 29th. OPS, 29th. Average with runners in scoring position, 193. That's 24th. And average runners in scoring, 2 outs, 103. Okay, look, everything went right in the beginning. They were 8-1, and everybody said, what was happening is they were hitting with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They were getting the hits. But baseball's a long, long season. And the great equalizer is what you have on the field generally pans out. You've heard the saying, everybody's heard the same saying, cream rises to the top, right? Well, you know, the other stuff, what's the other stuff they say? It runs downhill. And man, they're just going to have to they're going to have to get a couple bats. You're going to have to mix it up, whether it's bringing in Marco Luciano just to break things up or making a trade. You can't keep sending the same lineup out and expecting different results. I don't see it. And why I don't see it is because I really only see 3 hitters in the whole lineup. And I said it last night. Those 3 hitters are Ramos, Lee, and Flores. Those are the only 3 hitters on. The Valkyries got blown out by 28 today. All right. Hey, love it.
Oh, they played that in New York, if I remember.
Yeah. So this is what it's going to take, Lou. It's going to take some change. You got to shake it up because I don't think Adames and Chapman. Now, it would be great if they got hot for a couple of weeks. They do have the capability of getting hot. I've seen Chapman get hot his whole career, but you know it's not going to last, but enjoy it because when he gets hot, he's a pretty good hitter. I don't know what it is. He gets into a groove and everything just goes right. Maybe he goes on a 2-week heater and Adames comes along with him and they start clicking. That can happen. But if you're looking at for consistency,
the June schedule is ridiculous too.
Yeah.
June we're going against solid teams.
Yeah, Bo Bichette, Kyle Rutzkin, Bo Bichette play second base. Yeah, he could. Yeah, he might be a guy that you look at in the offseason as a free agent. I like that. Bichette, Hoskins, and, Bichette leads off for Toronto now. He's actually a leadoff hitter.
Yeah, we have Yaz, which makes no sense.
Get Hoskins at first base. Yaz is a platoon guy. Come on, let's just be honest. Exactly, Dallas. That's exactly what I was trying to say. It'll happen, but you can't build your offense on that because it's not consistent, and that's the problem. That is the problem. They're not consistent hitters. Yeah, Giants maybe they can go after a Bo Bichette and Rhys Hoskins. I think those would be 2 really good, and then make Fitzgerald your super utility guy. Just move him around the diamond. I don't understand. I hope Adames. Well, I was going to give it, but Adames went 2 for 4 tonight, so I thought he was primed for a day off tomorrow. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll get who knows.
You want to go over the pitching for tomorrow morning?
Yeah, and then let's get out of here. Would you trade for Bo now and play him at second and Fitz Super U? Yes, I would. I would, because I think Bo Bichette is a more proven player than Fitz, and Fitz can move around and be a specialist. Tomorrow's pitching matchup is Landon Roop for the Giants and on the hill for the Detroit Tigers. Jackson Jobe, the rookie. Okay. That should be a pretty good battle of 2 rookie pitchers. Jobe is got a lot of comes with a high ranking. He's been one of the top pitchers in baseball, one of the top prospects.
Strikes out a lot. Yep.
Yeah, he hasn't really put it all together. But
remember, the Giants haven't seen him, so you know what that means.
Right. It should be an interesting battle tomorrow. What do you got for prediction for a score before we get out of here?
I'm going to say the same score as today. 3-1 Tigers. Because
3-1
Giants,
Tigers?
for some reason, go 5. Pitcher, no offense.
All right, so 3-1. I think my gut tells me the Giants are going to lose like 4-2. But I'm going to go with my heart, which I shouldn't do. What am I going to? I don't know, Lou. Maybe the Giants pull it off tomorrow 3-2. But
to be announced after the game. Your
yeah,
prediction?
I have no idea, man. It's rough.
It's all right.
them.
Sometimes you have to make prediction.
Yeah. All right,
Agreed.
guys.
Remember, tomorrow's a day game, so we'll be back tomorrow night, right, Dan? After the basketball game, 8:00 again.
Yeah, 8:00 tomorrow night. Yeah, early game tomorrow. So
Beautiful.
10:10 start for us out here on the West. So everybody enjoy the ball game tomorrow. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Make sure you hit the like on the way out, guys. It really helps the algorithm. Please do so. Thanks and have a great night.